How does it differ from the previous information policy strategies?
Yes, the first policy document in this country that was clearly marked as information policy was the one that General Babangida's government framed or formulated in 1987 at the Badagry Administrative Institute. There, the came under the late Minister of Information, Tony Momo, and Tony Momo worked well to ensure that the policy was properly implemented. But by 1992, that document became obsolete because there were some provisions in the document that were clearly became obsolete due to the new policies of government. For example, in the first policy, government was clear that there will be no ownership, no private ownership in the broadcasting sector. However, by 1992, the sector has been liberalized with the NBC law and then some other aspects. So by the time we were in the 90s, evidently the policy couldn't lead or provide the required leadership and coordination in the information subsector in Nigeria. So since then, we have been groping, trying as much as we could to come up with an follow-up. And in 2012 or thereabout, the then government of President Obasanjo formed a committee under the leadership of late Professor Alfred Opubo to design and advise on a new policy. The policy was formulated, or the draft was formulated. It was looked at as the 42nd meeting of the National Information Council in Calabar, and since then the document has remained in the coolers. In some 2-3 years ago, there was a conference at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Jos, where the document was x-rayed and a lot of suggestions were given, ending up in what we call the Kuru Declaration. But since then, again, nothing happened until now that we are hearing the good news from the Federal Ministry of Information that eventually the policy will now be functional. And there are a number of differences, but even if it's that same document, I've not seen the new document, the one that was discussed in Kaduna, but if it's the same document that I know, which was proposed in 2013, I think that there are some suggestions that may be added to further improve and admit new recommendations, because from 2013 to date, there are a lot of changes in the global information dissemination subsector. Even internally, there are a lot of information. There are a lot of changes. As you may wish to know, the communication sector is the most dynamic in the world. New things are coming up on a daily basis. And we need to also be very much in tandem with some of these evolutions. As people always observe, the problem we are having now is that the dynamic sector, dynamism in the sector is not properly captured by the policy climate or the policy regime. As newer things are coming, you always realize that the policy sometimes appear to be a bit backward. Now we are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about all these credibility issues relating to fake news, hate speech, and all of that, and a lot more. So all these things need to be captured in the policy so that we get to know how the broadcast sector should be able to relate to the issues, and also how the development of the sector can also help in the information subsector within the national development framework.